All right, we will now hear from Yvette DiCarlo from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District on their ordinance toolkit and resources available to our region.
Good morning, everyone. Well, first I'd like to thank Edgar and BayREN for inviting us to give you an overview of the Bay Area Regional Solar Ordinance Toolkit. And as you heard from Amy this morning, the two key documents that make up this toolkit include the California Energy Commission's Model Solar Ordinance and the Cost Effectiveness Study. What we've done is then we've added additional guidance and resources so that it will make it easier for local governments to be able to adopt that ordinance. Now, we're currently in the final stages of development of this, but what we're looking forward to today is giving you a preview so that you can give us more feedback on anything else you think would be helpful to include in the toolkit, as well as any other ordinance ideas that you have. We've already heard a number, but if you have additional ones, we definitely want to get your input. So today I'm going to quickly talk about why rooftop solar, why use a toolkit, what's in the toolkit so far, and next steps. Well, obviously, clean energy and climate change are in the news all the time. Sometimes the headlines are more encouraging than others. Sometimes you want to cry. but one thing that has been astounding is how many, we've been breaking records here in California for clean energy, and we're clearly not stopping. And the state is poised to continue to adopt ambitious policies, goals, and initiatives. And how we see our role at the region and amongst our team members is that we can serve a role in bridging the gap between these state policies and how they can successfully get adopted at the local level where they need to happen on the ground in order to make a difference. So when I talk about the we, the key three regional partners that we're working with include Bay Area Regional Collaborative, or BARC. They are coordinating the overall effort, and they coordinate a number of different climate change mitigation and resilience activities in the Bay Area. We do have Allison Brooks, the executive director. Shoot, raise her hand. And I believe I saw Vijay Kesavan here as well in the back. Vijay? And you're obviously familiar with BayREN's work. We've been working with Jerry Lahr and Jenny Berg on this effort. They work with the Association of Bay Area Governments that funds and supports BayREN. So they bring their expertise in energy efficiency and their extensive work with local governments. The agency I work for, Bay Area Air Quality Management District, recently adopted its Clean Air Plan, which sets out ambitious greenhouse goals that includes emissions across 9 sectors, buildings being one of them. And of course, all of you who have worked with climate action plans know that building emissions are a significant portion of the inventory, therefore they are at the region as well. Partner that I've been working with is Justin Levesque, there in the back, and Abby Young, who is not here. As you know, we don't always travel in herds, so we've sufficiently broken up. That's good to see. We've also hired a contractor, Neil DeSnow, who many of you probably know as the former City of Berkeley Energy Program Manager, who's been very helpful with technical expertise and has been interviewing cities on this project. So clearly all of us regional partners have a common goal, and we felt it very important to give local governments the confidence that they need, that we're all acting in sync and having a consistent message to how they can move this forward. So that way we can work collaboratively and in sync and give them what they need to move forward. So what are the benefits of using a regional toolkit? Well, there's a couple key things. One, you can learn lessons from local governments. Just as you're hearing in this room, there's a number of cities that shouldn't have to take up resources that they may not have or time trying to figure this all out. So it's right there. What's contained in the toolkit is an amalgam of these lessons. And it also provides a step-by-step guide to adopting solar reach codes and getting them approved by the state. And the toolkit will also include editable templates so that you don't have to recreate the rule and can customize them as you need for your city or county. Okay, so I'm going to talk about each one of these in just a moment, but these are the core elements that we have in the toolkit right now. So the user guide, this is intended to basically walk a local government through a 2016 REACH code. So it just basically gives an easy to read description of what they are. As you've talked about, they're pretty in-depth, and I certainly don't know them, so I'm going to be reading this pretty well myself when it's finished. Also in the guide is just some of the dynamic things that we've been talking about. The 2019 code cycle is coming up. There's challenges with electrification. There's storage issues coming on board. So it's just to give a little bit of a background as to what's happening in the state right now, and know that it's not static in any way. For cities that want to be more ambitious, as you've heard, that want to add perhaps commercial, maybe they want to add solar heat pumps or different things to either this ordinance or in a separate ordinance, we have some optional enhancements that they can consider. But we do want to note, of course, if you do have an additional enhancement to the core elements, the cost effectiveness study would need to be amended, so it can either be enhanced or done separately. And we are also including some guidance for any exceptions or alternatives that may be appropriate for your city. So when I show here the Bay Area Ordinance template, this is essentially the CEC's template, but what we've done is after the interviews with different cities, and including Fremont's lessons as well, we've added some additional language that we think helps clarify some wording in the document that removes some of the slight ambiguities to make it easier to comply with. We've also added a number of whereas findings that you would normally see in the resolution that are optional. You can add additional ones. You don't have to use them all, but they're already there for you to pick and choose from. Now with these, we did submit and share our comments with CEC that was very agreeable to the enhancements that we made. So it was important for both of us to know, for both CEC and us to say, if we're going to make these different changes, it will not affect the cost effectiveness study. So if you adopt the ordinance with just maybe some minor changes in definitions, or maybe it's something related to your climate zone, that's not going to affect the cost effectiveness study. Now, if we do have these comments that we shared with CEC that we can provide to you at the end of this conference, if you want to have a preview of what that looks like, and if you have any additional comments to add to those. The other component is the Ordinance Adoption and CEC Approval Guide. So this will include an editable staff report, so you don't have to do that either. It includes CEQA compliance statements and a final filing checklist. And also, of course, includes the cost effectiveness template that Amy discussed earlier. And lastly, in the toolkit, we have an outreach materials packet. So this is a packet that will make it easier for when you want to go to a city council and you already have something to present to them. It includes a PowerPoint slide deck, question and answer sheets. It describes the community benefits that would be realized from adopting an ordinance, and then additional resources as well. Okay, so our next steps are to, again, get additional input into the toolkit. We are hoping that we can get something by the end of this week, because we are looking to move as quickly as possible as we can moving this forward. So you can either email us, I'll give you some email addresses here in a second, talk to one of us here today or after the event. In the meantime, we'll be working with any interested local partners that are in the process of adopting something, who want to adopt something. Please continue to work with us and use us as a resource so that we can help you be successful. So we can, like I said, be a bridge between what you need to do at the state level and how we can help you here regionally. We're also going to then take our respective toolkits, or the toolkit, to our respective boards and hope to estimate a launch time of this in early August. So this will be online. It will be downloadable online. And in the meantime, we're going to be considering other additional types of ordinances to either include in this toolkit or keep expanding on it. This is not the end all. As Amy mentioned earlier, this is a forward-moving project, and we are continuing to want to increase and add on the tools that we can provide to you in your efforts moving forward. So here are some email addresses that you can use to contact us. If they're hard to read, my contact is ydcarlo@baaqmd, Jerry Lar at gerryl@abag.ca.gov, and Allison Brooks from BARC at abrooks@mtc.ca.gov.